This is Bud, and today we're using him as our energy healing horse. As you can see, he's tied. Normally, I won't leave a horse tied or encourage anybody to have their animals confined. In an energy healing session, they need to have the choice to walk away. But because today's a demonstration, we're going to go ahead and have a check over Bud. So I like to start with an introduction, introducing myself, and then doing a body scan. So just noticing on both sides if there's any areas that really stand out to me. I'm also looking at this time for cues from the horse or the animal, watching their facial expression, ears perked, licking and chewing, yawning, sighing. These are all signals to me of areas that perhaps need some work or perhaps to avoid. Bud's pretty balanced today, but I'm just going to go ahead and get started with his head. So we work front to back. Placing my hands on either side of his eyes, near his temple area. As you can see, he's a little bit hesitant about this. We always take into consideration sometimes with animals' pasts, if they've had trauma there, and then not lingering too long. You know, achieve a lot in a short amount of time. And here he moves away, so I respect that. Next, I like to trace the top line. So the spine is located towards the back, or the top line of animals. This is a central nervous system. When we talk about energy, central nervous system plays a large role in that. I'll place my hand at his heart and his withers. And always keeping both hands in contact, sliding them to the next space or place that I'm guided to. We want to avoid any quick or jarring type movements, so it's nice to just have hand placement so it's easy to trace. And also staying safe. And Bud's just shaking his head because there's a fly out today. And sometimes we may need to hold in a place until we feel a release. Other times, as Bud's balanced today, we're just moving, just helping him in his current state. Now I've brought in Aggie. Aggie is a really sensitive horse. Today I've tied her and I'm triggering her a little bit. I know she doesn't like to be brushed sometimes, but I wanted to demonstrate a horse that may not be willing to receive any energy healing today, or perhaps it's safer at a distance. So you can see some of her behavior of lifting a leg, moving away from me. She's being very clear that she doesn't want to partake in this today. So in that case, especially when we look at trauma with horses, those that have been abused, I would offer distance healing. These distance healing sessions can be very brief and intentionally directed into healing the trauma or emotional imbalances that the horse has. In the second part of this demonstration, I'm bringing in essential oils and crystals. This is a nice add-on to any energy work that you're doing with animals. Not necessary though, and you really need to read the animal that you're working on. Hands-on can just be enough. So here I'm starting with a selenite wand to clear the energy. And this can be done before and after a session. At the end of this, I am going to provide you with a list of safe crystals to use on animals. I highly recommend knowing what's okay to place on them and what's not. I veer away from any sort of mineral-based crystals like selenite, placing them directly on the animal, because some can be toxic. When you're doing the selenite wand clearing, just use your intuition about the distance that you need to be away from the animal, and then also feeling what they're asking for. So to set an even calmer tone with Bud, I've brought out lavender. Of course, it's his choice. If he wants this scent, he can take it or he can leave it. He's loving the lavender today, though. And you can see it's having the effects that that essential oil does of calming him. It's releasing stress. It's such a beautiful way for us to begin a session together. And then next, I'm offering him a crystal. And he's actually having a response to rose quartz, which was surprising to me because he's never really chosen rose quartz. But I felt there was this connection in his heart with this crystal. So you have the option, you could place or hold the crystal over the heart area. With the larger animals, if you think about the chakra system and where you can align the crystals, you may want to do that along the spine, just so it can rest there. So I put the rose quartz on Bud's back, just behind the withers. You can also visualize sending the intention into that heart space or that healing into exactly where the horse or the animal is asking you to send it. I'm offering another crystal to see if Bud's interested in it. Well, he's kind of walking away and telling me this is enough. This is perfect where it's at. And so I just respect that. Obviously not placing the crystal on him where I think it needs to go. Always assessing the horse's body language. If they're feeling uncomfortable or if it looks like they've had enough, then removing the crystal. Removing any sort of extras that you're using at this time, and then clearing that energy. Now I've brought in Aggie, and this turned out to be a really direct session. So I've started introducing lavender to her, and she's saying no. She had a sniff. She looked away. Sometimes I will linger a little bit, giving her the choice. But she's being very clear. It's a no. Next I have lemongrass. And you can see Bud was interested in it as soon as I brought it out. Lemongrass is one of my favorite oils. And I'm using it as aromatherapy once again. Just taking these nice deep breaths. And then once he moves away, so do I. Aggie's still not interested. The next oil I'm bringing out is Endoflex. This is a really nice blend. And you can see the shift here. This is one that she's self-selecting. You can see her whole demeanor changed. Endoflex is for the hormone system, for thyroid, for reproduction. I decided to put a little bit on her throat latch area, and then start to ask about crystals. Amethyst is one that she's enjoyed in the past, but not so much today. So it just shows you that the energy shifts with horses happen all the time, and with animals. So it doesn't necessarily mean that this crystal is going to be right every time. We always want to give the option of self-selection. Next I bring out selenite. It's pretty clearing and cleansing, but she's not engaging with that one. And then I have quartz. Quartz is really a go-to for me because it just has these nice subtle effects with the horses and with animals, but it offers just enough to them. Bud was a little bit interested in it. I let him check it out, but he didn't really want to engage with it. And then next, I have a small piece of carnelian, and I offered that to her. And you can see how she made the choice. She's letting me know this is the crystal for her. Carnelian works with the sacral chakra. And so you can see the story as it's unfolding. It's starting to make a lot of sense. Aggie chose an essential oil that works with hormone regulation, and she chose a crystal with hormone regulation qualities or properties. So I place it towards her reproductive organs. So with a mare, female horse, they're sort of towards the back of the body. And then I just gently hover my hands over the crystal, just activating it. In my mind's eye, seeing where Aggie needs some healing or maybe some balancing. So I'm anticipating with this time of year that she may be coming into heat, which is basically her menstrual cycle. And Aggie also has a lot of fluctuations in hormones. So this whole picture is really neat. It was a really neat session. Now I'm going to do something else. I'm going back to the brush with Aggie just to demonstrate the complete shift. We saw earlier that she was highly agitated by being groomed, and now that I've seen her and addressed what she needed to be addressed, she's in a much nicer place. This concludes the introduction to this course. And I thank you so much for signing up and taking the time to be part of this. In this email, I am including more detailed information on crystals and essential oils. And please be sure to stay connected. You can always email us or send me a message on Facebook. Also watch for upcoming courses coming out soon.